All right, let's get it. So, with that being said, I was just looking at the chat. I seen a few faces on the call. See, I see the pen and papers. I see a few people getting the pen and papers. That's what I like to see. So, with that being said, today what I want to kind of just start things off with to chop it up with everybody, is that, well, really just to chop it up with, you know, Derek and everybody. I was kind of taking time this week to, I always take time every single day, honestly, to, make sure that I'm taking care of myself spiritually, and that's something that's important to me because I understand that that 90% of the things in life is all just spiritual. Music is really just frequencies, right? That's spiritual, right? The things that you eat is all just frequencies, it's energy, right? That's all part of the spiritual way of life. So I understand those things. So I kind of had a little thought process that most people are at different levels when it comes to their spiritual journey. Most people are at different levels when it comes to the spiritual life in general. And that was something that I actually realized within myself. I realized that myself, between 2020, when I would say I became spiritually awakened, right? Aware of myself, aware that there was more to life than just the physical that we've always learned, aware that there's more entities around us that affect the way we move, the way we act, the way we look at life, basically based on what type of frequencies that you have around you, whether that's people, whether that's, the type of food that you're eating, whether that's the type of posters that you're looking at every day, what type of symbols you're looking at, because symbols hold frequency as well. So all those things were things I became aware of, in 2020. And 3 years later, I've been able to grow at certain times way more than other times based off my spiritual awareness and spiritual journey. And I kind of want to, just kind of start the topic off with this and just ask, you, Derek, just first thing, what would you say, is important to recognize for people when they're in their different aspects of their spiritual journey? Because I know there's some people who maybe this is their first year when they're actually becoming awakened to just understanding that there's more to life than just the physical. Then there's other people who've already had this knowledge and now they have been putting in the time, meditating or, praying. There's really no right or wrong way to do things towards elevating yourself spiritually. It's all about what fulfills your soul. So I know there's people right now, they making sure they get their sage every morning. They're making sure they're drinking tea. They're making sure that they're doing their affirmations. And then there's other individuals who's doing a lot of deep history learning. They're learning a lot about history, learning a lot about the things that they had to unlearn and relearn, to get them to understand where they're at today with their history of our ancestors. So for you, Derek, what would you say for somebody, that's at these different stages of life? What's something important to pick up, as you're going through your spiritual journey and maybe your experience? What have you been able to do for yourself as you've been able to go through your spiritual journey and grow for yourself?
Mm. I say, I say the biggest thing is first when it comes to respecting how other people are on their journey. It's it's it was literally just in my head, bro. You can only understand somebody as much as you understand yourself, because I've been on my journey for it's 2023, 3 years now. I've been fake conscious for like 3 years now. And understanding that where I was when I first got the information compared to where I am now, it's been a huge, like, so much has happened. I've stopped doing so much, like having the patience with people that are on their journey and having the patience with yourself. And it's because you was patient with yourself while you can be patient with other people on their journey. You see what I'm saying? Like, people who might still be struggling with getting their diet right and might still be eating the wrong foods. Like, they on their journey, they conscious, they shouldn't be doing that. You shouldn't be drinking fucking tap water and all this. That you poisoning yourself. You conscious enough to notice, but how long did it take you yourself to actually stop doing that stuff? You know what I'm saying? Having that patience with yourself and remembering where you were in your journey, how long it took you to actually build that discipline. And really, I say that love for self, because you might be conscious of something, but I always relate it back to how much you love yourself. If you really love yourself, you're not even going to pay it any mind like that. You're not going to give your energy to it. But some habits are difficult to break. But really just understanding where you was in your journey and just being patient with yourself. That way you can understand other people. And I'd say the biggest thing that I've picked up is patience, because I'm a very impatient person. Like, I'm somebody who, like, shifting from instant gratification to delayed gratification is very difficult for me. You know, I'm a fire sign. I got a lot of fire energy in me. Fire just bounces around. It doesn't just sit still. You know what I'm saying? It's gonna act now. That's kind of the energy I have. That's the energy I have all throughout life. So shifting to a more patient energy and understanding delayed gratification and putting the work in now so you can reap the reward later. That was probably the biggest thing and most important thing that I've had to learn and still learning on my journey. Because it really is the most important part, for real, having the patience, because it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen tomorrow. It's not going to happen next week. It's not going to happen in a month. It's not going to happen in 6 months. But I bet you after 6 months, you'll be able to look back and see progress.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It's just like if you climbing, perfect analogy. You got to look at your spiritual journey like you climbing a mountain. I don't know if any of y'all have ever gone hiking, but if you have, before you go up the hill, before you go up the mountain, and you at the base of this jump, right? When you at the base of the mountain, it's gonna be probably 2 hours, 3 miles in total before you get to the top of it and get to enjoy the peak, get to enjoy the scenery of the mountaintop. But you at the base of it right now. You there's only one way up, nigga, and that's up, nigga. You have to put that effort in to get to the top, to get to where you want to go, to reap the reward, to enjoy the view. You know what I'm saying? But the only way to get there is if you start the journey. And while you halfway up, while you a mile up the mountain, you might not be all the way up, but you can look back at all the work that you put in to get here and see the progress that you made, and have the patience and have the dedication and the delayed gratification, and understand delayed gratification to where you can persevere and get to the top. And now once you get to the top, it's worth all the effort and the work that you put in. It was worth all the patience, the sweat, the tears, the blood. It was worth everything. But the only way you could get there is if you was patient with yourself.
That's a fact. That's a fact. That delayed gratification part was definitely key, because that was something that I had to even understand for myself. Like, I look back at my journey personally, I was somebody who I kind of was always just like, I will defeat the odds. Like, I'm a person who, like, let's say there was a certain type of rules. If there was a rule I didn't like, I didn't follow it. And I was like, I don't need to follow it. I'm still good. Like, that's my type of move and my type of personality with things. And for me, one of those things I realized for me with my spiritual journey, from where I started to where I am today, has definitely been the type of foods that I eat. I had to become a lot more patient with myself to actually let myself develop the mindset to be like, okay, I can actually, actually fast and not eat certain things, or I can actually choose this and replace it with something that's not benefiting myself. So, like, there was times where I would be, hanging around with Josh Means, if you guys know him. You know, he would put me on to eating vegan. He stopped eating meat, a while back. And I would always tell him, like, yo, that's him. Like, that's his life, that's him, that's what he do. I don't do it. I'm still good though. And looking back at it, I realized that where I am today, I don't, I'll still eat fish and stuff, but I don't eat any type of meats personally. And it just kind of like uplift me more. I feel more energetic, I feel more healthier, I'll have more energy personally, on a day to day, I just feel a lot better. And so just something as small as that, definitely patience was a key. And I think patience is probably one of the number one assets that helped me to grow spiritually myself, because sometimes we want something so fast, we want to see the results. We want to be able to say that we're growing as a person. We want to defeat that demon that might be attacking us spiritually right now. We want to be able to, fight off those negative energies or parasites around us that's not feeding into us and bringing us love. It might be bringing us the wrong things, but it's that patience that I feel, definitely has been able to be a key factor and a huge asset towards my growth. And I definitely can say that patience is something that it's like a sore thumb. You know, it's like something that you don't want to really deal with it. You know, but it's like everybody got to go through it at some point because that's 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 the key to things. It's key to life. It's like the patience. You gotta let yourself develop. You gotta see yourself grow as a person. And if it happened instantly, you wouldn't be as grateful. If it happened instantly and you didn't have to put in no work, you wouldn't cherish it. You wouldn't cherish the new you. You wouldn't cherish the new developed person that you are. You wouldn't cherish the great person that you are now compared to your past. And that's why I feel like what you said with patience is definitely a key, you know. So I definitely could see that. Now, what were some obstacles for you? You know, what were some obstacles for you personally that you would say that you went through that you had to kind of overcome when it came to your growth?
Hmm. I'd say I'd say the biggest thing might be biggest obstacle that I needed to overcome when it came to my growth. I'd most definitely say one, the patience, and two, it's still something that I struggle with. And now that I understand myself through astrology, I understand why I'm like this. But it's thinking that I know everything. You know what I'm saying? And doubting other people's knowledge sometimes. Like you for real. Like how Josh, he was like, man, nah, you should. He was on his vegan shit. He was trying to get you on it, and you know what I'm saying? But you was like, nah, I'm cool. That's you, bro. You know what I'm saying? It's because you think that you know enough about it. So where it's like, all right, nah, I'm cool. I got enough for me, et cetera, et cetera. I say that's something that I struggle with the most because I find myself doubting other people's knowledge. Like when it comes to paying for courses, I find myself like, bro, why should I pay $100, $150 for this shit when I feel like I already know what he's gonna say? I done researched a lot. My mind is very sharp. What's the point of me even doing it? And then you actually buy it, and then you hear something that you had never fucking heard before. And now that information, that knowledge just completely shifted the whole perspective of your life.
Facts.
But you would have never done that if you was just stuck in your arrogant ways thinking you knew everything. So that's something that's been really consistent with me. Like even with joining MBW, bro, because I had been trading since 2020, but I was trading options at the time. And options, like is trading, you know what I'm saying? It's damn near the same terminology with shit, higher lows, resistance support, et cetera, et cetera. But by the time I met Joseph and CJ and all y'all, I was like, if they really have something to offer, then they should be able to teach me something that I've never heard before. But I was still hesitant to join because it's like, what do these niggas really know? But fuck it, we'll see. And now look at where we're at. Completely shifted the trajectory of my life. So that's something that I've had to get over, and I still find myself wrestling with. Just I know I'm gonna always be confident in myself, but not having not having extreme confidence and arrogance in my mind and the knowledge that I already have, because you never stop learning.
Facts. Facts. And one thing about that, I would say for me, like, my journey, I was always somebody that I would compare myself to other people in their spiritual journey. So if there was somebody that was spiritual, I would be on some like, okay, let me see how much he know. Am I more knowledgeable than him, or is he more knowledgeable than me? And I feel like I always came into it with the wrong mindset because at the end of the day, I feel like naturally sometimes as people, we love that feeling to where we feel different than the rest of the people around us. Naturally, like once you understood that the wealth mindset versus the poor mindset, you automatically start to feel like, yo, I'm like that now. Like you start to feel like the man or the female simply because you learned something that most people aren't. So you feel like you're in a secret class of people that's actually elevating their lives. So for me, when I was on my spiritual journey, I immediately felt like, yo, like I'm I'm him, like I'm like that. Like how many other people could say that they know this type of information? So once I started to come across people that did, or even if it was people that didn't, I would always kind of like look a little bit down upon them subconsciously. I wouldn't say it, but subconsciously, I'd be like, well, I'm better than this person. But then I had to realize, with time, and that's why the spiritual journey process is so powerful, because that was a period of my time, a life. But then over time, I realized that there is no comparison. There is no feeling like you're better than somebody else, because that's not real. That's what the 3D world, that's what this world had made us believe, that, oh, a celebrity is better than us. A celebrity, or an athlete, just because the person may make money, they have more value than us. But that's not even true at all. Like I seen a TikTok post one time, and the dude said that I don't understand why people get so hyped up about celebrities or anything like that. Like, if Jay-Z walked in the room right now, I'd be like, oh shit, what's up? What's good? That's Jay-Z. Like, I would be like, yo, I know him, from his accolades and the person that he is. But at the end of the day, I'm not about to kiss up to Jay-Z. Jay-Z got to show me respect. Jay-Z got to speak to me like a man, like every other man got to speak to me like a man. Like, he not about to say something disrespectful, and I'm going to be like, oh, okay, it's Jay-Z though. You feel me? So that's one thing that, I feel like society, and, I've definitely been a victim of it, where we kind of just always like to look at things like, yo, I'm better than this person, or that person is, not better than me, or he doesn't know more than me. But that's really not real. It's really about, okay, you see a brother that doesn't know as much as you, but he's willing to learn, or he has potential. Why don't you be someone that's an asset to his life and educate them? You know, why don't you impact them? Why don't you give them something that nobody else probably did ever before in his life? Or if you do meet somebody that is just as powerful as you, just as knowledgeable as you, if not more, why don't you go be a student? Why don't you go ask that person, hey, is there anything that I could do for you so I could be around you, just because I really admire your mindset, or just because I admire your energy, your presence, and I want that for myself, and not have the, like, sometimes we have that jealousy or enviness type of mindset, or type of character, or type of energy, where it's like we see somebody else doing good, you think, okay, I could go do good like him on my own. But that's the problem that I feel like, as a society, and like I said, I've been a victim of it. Some of you guys are probably hearing this and like saying like, damn, I am a victim of it, where we kind of will compare ourselves or judge our own character and our own selves based off where we see other people. But I just don't think that's even realistic. And that's something that I had to grow spiritually and kind of understand for myself, So definitely a key point I want y'all to kind of pick up from that, if you guys definitely didn't, is that, you know, it's never good to shame somebody else based on their journey, or praise somebody else based on a status or their journey. You should always look to either educate or get educated, right? I was gonna say educate or elevate, but educate or elevate, you can elevate by getting more educated, or educate somebody else so that they can get more elevated themselves. And in return, that's gonna help you as well. So with that, I know, Derek, you definitely had something that you specifically wanted to talk about. If you want to bring up your topic that you wanted to tap into today.
Yeah. What I want to talk about is understanding that reality is a double-edged sword. And it's just accepting the bad parts of life. Like life, I think I said this last time, life is a pendulum swing. Life is a double-edged sword. Life is peaks and valleys. And if you're a valley right now, you should be able to look up and understand that eventually you're going to be back at the peak. And when you're on the peak, cherish the peak and understand that eventually you're going to be back in the valley. You see what I'm saying? Perfect example. I know everyone's seen this movie. When Thanos gave Gamora the reality stone, how did he give it to her? He gave her a double-edged knife, right? He gave Gamora reality as a form of a double-edged knife. Perfectly balanced. No way you've never seen Infinity War, Kaylee. Good God. Good God, you're uncultured. No way you've never seen Infinity War. You need to watch that movie, bro. Because anyway, he gave he gave he gave her the reality stone as a double-edged sword. And that literally symbolizes what reality is. All right. There's the good side, there's the high vibrations, there's peace and love. And then there's the God damn, you ain't seen it either, Lex. Fuck. And then there's the other side where there's chaos, there's what people call low vibrations or whatever. There's when you're angry, there's when you're feeling really chaotic is the best way to describe it. Don't, I think it's called spiritual bypassing. Don't just completely neglect that part and just be mad and not like that you're feeling like this and that you want to feel like this. Chaos is needed for self-development. I think I saw it on TikTok earlier. They said anger can be your best friend. You got to embrace it because your anger is what's really being truthful to you. It knows what you don't like. So when you feel that anger, when you feel that chaos energy, don't just try to just completely disassociate from it. Accept it, feel the emotions, be in the present moment and feel everything that you're feeling with discernment. All right. You don't got to express it. You don't got to lash out. You don't got to give that energy to somebody else because they might be having a good day. They might be feeling themselves, but you just had a terrible day. You just had a shitty day. You don't have to throw that energy on someone else. You see what I'm saying? Just accept it, feel it, transmute it. Whenever I get angry, whenever I get blown about something, I always transmute the energy into something positive. Whenever somebody throws me off or says some bullshit, I transmute the energy by saying something positive to them. All right, you poke me with this side, you poke me with this part of the knife, the double-edged knife that reality is, you poke me with it. All right, I'll take it out and poke you with the other side. That's how you got to do it. That's one thing that's been on my mind. And then the other thing is just having true belief in abundance. Like I know I've talked about this a couple of times because I'm just a firm believer that if you believe in abundance, you will see abundance. You have to believe it to see it, not see it to believe it. All right. Because yesterday I didn't have enough money. Like I didn't have much money to get what I wanted from the store. And I had the money. It was just like I was reluctant to spend it. But I told myself while I was in the store, I was like, man, I'm operating from financial trauma right now because I know ways to make money. I'm sure that if I spend this money right now, that it'll come back tonight, it'll come back tomorrow, it'll come back soon, bro. I just had that belief in abundance. My fault. I just had that belief in abundance at the moment. And because I had that belief in abundance, I was like, all right, let me just spend it and pray for the best, manifest the best. All right. So fast forward to today, I post my Pluto and Aquarius energy video, how we about to be in a recession, et cetera, et cetera. And then at the end of the video, I said, if you want a reading, hit me. If you want to buy my financial literacy course, link is in the bio. And then today, depending on if my sports bets hits, I made the most money I've made today than I did for the entire year. Not throughout this entire year, like how the entire year is gone, accumulated, but in one day, I might have made the most money that I made in a day throughout this entire year. And it's all because I had that belief in abundance that it will come to me. All right. It was just fucking $17 yesterday, nigga. That shit is fucking, I don't even know. I got to check. But I just know like I made a lot more than $17. And it's just because I had that belief in abundance. You have to believe it to see it, not the other way around.
Sheesh, yeah, that's funny how that works. That I feel like that always will happen. It's like that one moment where you have that. It's like a split moment. You gotta just notice it. Where it's like it's a split moment between operating in abundance or going back to my old program mindset from my mom, from my grandparents, my grandparents. It's like, what are you gonna choose in the moment? And you chose. It was like literally a test. You chose to be abundant, and then it rewarded you immediately. Sometimes though, I want people to understand that abundance is something that doesn't have to be in the same form that you exchange it. So, for example, I know some people on this call, they want to receive abundance of love. So, what do? They give out love all the time, every single day to other people. And there's nothing wrong with that because, yes, it makes sense. Giving off that energy, you're going to receive it back. But sometimes that energy might not even come in the form that you was expecting it. So, let's say for Derek's example, Derek, he went was expecting abundance of money to come back, right? And him spending that money and him expecting abundance of money or expecting abundance back in general, he might have got an abundance of people that went in looked at his information, like his astrology readings, his ebooks, and then those people went and told somebody that knows people that can help him get publishing. So now he got publishers hitting him up trying to make it a physical copy. He got people hitting him up trying to tell him different ways that he can make it more official. Maybe the money didn't come in the way he thought it was of abundance of a money return, but it was a different type of frequency or energy return that he was able to receive. So sometimes your abundance can come through people, it could come through opportunities, or it could come through something tangible that you can actually count. So when it comes to you guys, make sure that every time you're operating in abundance, don't always expect the same exact thing back in return. Just expect abundance in general. And next thing you know, different things, different people, different opportunities will enter your life, and it will actually make that thing work. But if you don't notice it, you're gonna say, "Oh, the abundance mindset doesn't work for me because I don't receive what I want." It's because you're not noticing exactly what you're actually receiving, because just not being aware of that it could come in different fashions. So that's one thing to definitely, I wanted to give to y'all as far as that. And just to kind of go back on what you said about, the double-edged swords and how you can have peaks and how you can have valleys. There's actually a term for that, and you guys can actually even write this down. That's actually called success stabilizers. So what a success stabilizer is that you need an opposite to everything. You wouldn't know what good food tastes like until you had bad food. You
Mm,
wouldn't know what a good day would be like if you didn't have bad days, because you wouldn't have nothing to measure it off of. It's like if you had nothing but good days, you have nothing to measure that off of for real. It's like if every day was a good day, where are you measuring the bad days at? You feel me? So success stabilizers, right? Understand that you have to go through a failure to get a success, and you have to go through a success to get a failure. So what does that mean? Right? It's kind of like a coin, right? How you can know if I'm trying to see if I have a coin. I don't think I have one near me, but how you can know if you're on the right path when it comes to your business, when it comes to you making money, or when it comes to just life in general, whatever you measure success, think about a coin, think about a quarter. If I gave you guys a quarter, right, you guys could participate in the chat. If I gave you guys a quarter and the quarter had two sides that were heads, you guys would tell me that that's a fake quarter, right or wrong, right? Right or wrong, right? If I give y'all a quarter and it had two sides that were heads, you guys would tell me, yo, this is not a real quarter, right? And then if I give y'all a quarter that had two sides that were tails, you'd be like, bro, this is still not a real quarter. But then when I give you a quarter that had a heads and the tails, now you know it's real, because because it has polarity. It has heads and it has a tails. That's the same thing with your life, and that's the same thing with your success. Your success. If everything is going good all the time, chances are something maybe not be right. Because I always feel like that. Like if everything's going too well, something ain't right. You know what I'm saying? It's just like everything's good. Because when I say that, it doesn't mean that things can't go right. It just might mean that you're comfortable. It might mean that you're not going to your highest capability. It might mean that you're putting a ceiling on your success. You're putting a ceiling on your possibilities, on your potential. That's why everything's just going right, and you think like, oh, everything's all good. I got this, that. But on the other end, if everything's going wrong and you're not seeing no success at all, then that's you're also not doing very well. You feel what I'm saying? You gotta have a success to have a failure, and you gotta have a failure to have a success. I want you guys to think about the biggest failure that you've ever had in your life. Think about the biggest failure that you recently had in your life. Did a success come after that failure? Did you get over that failure and achieve a success afterwards? Yes or no in the chat. All right.
Can you repeat that?
I want you to think about the biggest failure or a failure that you ever had in your life. After that failure, did a success happen that was greater than the failure afterwards at some point in your life? Yes. Now I want you to think about a success that happened in your life. After you had some type of success with something, did you have a failure pretty much right after that? It didn't have to be the next day. It didn't have to be the next week. It didn't have to be the next month. It didn't even have to be the next year, but you had a failure somewhere after that. So you need a failure to have a success. You need a success to have a failure. And that's how you can measure your business. Because when you start out, your failures, you should never really have those same failures again. You get over it and it's done. Now you have the success part of the failure. You figured it out. But then when you have the success, you get a new failure. But then you have a new failure. You complete that. Now you have a new success. You have a new success. That's how you climb up in the ladder of life. I don't want to just label it just entrepreneurship, but that's just life. That's called success stabilizers. You gotta have a failure for a success. You gotta have a success for a failure.
Mm. I got a question for you. What's something you do every day to challenge your mind? Because I'm realizing the importance of challenging your mind and literally increasing your mental strength in that capacity. Because for example, something I hate doing, or at least something I convinced myself that I hated doing, is running. All right. So what did I start doing a week ago? I started running every morning. I hate being cold. So what did I do? What do I do after I run? I don't have an ice bath yet, but what I do is I soak my feet in ice cold water and I just let it sit there, because I'm forcing myself to do something that my body doesn't want to do, but my mind is set on finishing. Right. So doing the run, I do not want to do that shit. My body does not want to go through that shit. But first off, start the run, get yourself to start it, and then finish the run. Don't stop while you're running. Get there and back. Finish the run. Finish through. Finish strong. And then same thing with the ice bath. So what's something you do every day to challenge your mind?
That's a good question. Um, so I could say I could definitely agree on that. You know what you do, like sometimes there will be things where I just don't really want to do it. Like running is a perfect example. Like me, I hate running. I could run on a basketball court short distance, but that long distance shit, I hate it. I never ever liked it. Um, so that was literally, it's crazy. I literally did that the other day too. Only when it's nice out. If it's cold out, I ain't doing it. But if it's nice out, I go for a run because I know that subconsciously I don't really like to do it, but I'm doing it anyways. Now, for me, the most challenging thing that I'm doing right now to challenge my mindset is I'm actually shifting my perspective going into things. I feel like that's challenging because we're just so fixated on certain mindsets. So like reading, that might be something that someone on this call doesn't like to do, but they'll still force themselves to do it because they know it's beneficial. But like me, I want to change my mindset initially, even going into reading. I don't want to say I fucking hate reading, so but I'm gonna go read because it's beneficial. I feel like there's a level of, it's like a thin line, very thin. It's a thin line between doing it because it's beneficial and I have to, and torturing yourself. You feel me? Like it's like a thin line. It's like, you know, it's only because like you might say, well, it's not torturing yourself. You're gaining off reading. Yes, you are gaining, but your mental is getting that little torture subconsciously because you don't really want to do it. And that's why I've been telling y'all, I advocate doing things because you truly want to do it, not even just because I should or I have to do it. It's because I know I really want to do this. So I've definitely been training myself and you know challenging myself to go into things with the right intention and the right mind behind it, so that when I do it, it's not like a drag. It's more like it's a flow. It's flowing. I'm just doing it and it's flowing. Just like if I was doing anything that I love to do, like playing ball, I could play ball anytime because I just love to do it. So it's a flow. I can separate from the whole world. So with things that I really don't like to do initially, I will shift my mindset to be like, okay, why don't you like to do this? Right? Like I just start asking questions. Why don't you like to do this? You don't like to do this because you haven't been doing it. You just don't do it. So it's like you're used to doing other things besides this. But the outcome of this, do you like the outcome? Yes. So why would you not like to do it if you like the outcome? It's like and it sounds like like doing things physical can be easy to me. I've always been someone that the mental to physical things is easy. Like it's easy to tell your body to keep going when you're still tired. I feel like that's easy, like that's not hard, but the hard thing is the mental to mental, tricking your using your conscious mind to trick your subconscious mind. I feel like that's something that is actually difficult. And once you could do that, you become powerful, the most powerful person ever for yourself because there will no longer be a task that you won't be able to do because you always trick your mind to believing that this is something that you actually enjoy doing.
I can definitely say that's how I am when I run too. Cause while I'm running, like, cause I'm flat footed as shit and my back be hurting sometimes. So while I'm running, I gotta convince myself that this point that I'm at now, like, all right, I'm tired of shit. My body's telling me to stop, but do I really need to stop here? Subconsciously, I feel like I need to stop, but consciously, I know that I can keep going. It's literally just tricking your subconscious, like taking control of your subconscious mind, because you have no idea how much this trickles into other things. All right. I'm using the example of I feel like stopping now because of this. All right. So subconsciously, I feel like stopping. Subconsciously, I don't feel like doing this. Subconsciously, I don't feel like going any further. Basically, I don't feel like pushing myself any further. You have no idea how much that will trickle down into other aspects of life. All right. I'm trying to think of an example. What's an example you can think of?
Or so yeah, I would say, I like to just always say how you do anything is how you do everything. A good
Mm,
example. A good example is just that if you really think about how. Okay, here's an example. Like, think about how you wake up in the morning, and how you go about your day when you first wake up in the morning. If when you wake up, you make your bed, you make sure all your ducks is in a row. You make your bed, you do your routine, you stretch, you did your yoga, you went and drink your tea, and then you go about your day. Think about how smooth the day feels the rest of the day after that. It's almost like nothing can really get you that mad because you just had such an accomplished morning that you're gonna have an accomplished rest of the day. You're not gonna let the rest of the day accomplish you. You're gonna accomplish the day because you've already accomplished the morning part of it. But versus the morning when you're rushing, the morning when you're trying to figure out everything you're doing, but you're rushing. You're not even doing it in divine purpose and timing. You're making sure you got everything. You're now your emotions is all over the place. You're stressed and you forgot something. Now think about how your day went after that. Now your day was a lot more like it just didn't flow as well because your morning didn't flow well. The start of the day didn't flow well. So the rest of the day didn't really flow as good either. And so to relate that, it's like when you think about how you go about when you're about to read or how you go about when you're working out, if you can tell yourself that you're gonna finish it out and you truly do it, guess what? You'll finish out everything else in the day. Because why? You already did probably the hardest thing in the morning or the hardest thing that you didn't want to do and you finished it. Now everything else that comes about the day, you're gonna do it because you're not gonna let that shit stop you. Because you didn't let the hard thing stop you. So you definitely not about to let a conversation with somebody stop you. You're definitely not about to let posting content about to stop you. And that's how it trickles down. Like how you do anything is truthfully just how you do everything. If you're lazy with taking out the trash or something, you're going to be lazy with handling your business. If you're lazy with cleaning up your room, you're going to be lazy with cleaning out people that shouldn't be in your life. So that's kind of like what I would say for that. So as far as that, I know we definitely dished out a lot of heat today. I know we definitely dished out a lot of heat today. So I always like to open up the call for any type of questions, because every like we always said, everybody's at different levels of life and journey, and there's different things that people want to learn. So about themselves, about people, maybe you want to learn more things specifically about us and what we do. So if you guys have a question, feel free to ask any question right now in the chat. It could be a question about life, it could be a question about spirituality, question about business. Definitely feel free to ask a question based off, some of the information you guys got today, or even just any topics that you guys have outside of what we talked about. Maybe something that you're dealing with personally, maybe a problem that you've been facing. And I want y'all to always be real with yourself. If you can't be real with yourself, you're gonna fail. And I'm saying that flat out. If you can't be real with yourself, you're gonna fail. I could be real with you, but at the end of the day, I'm only here with you right now for an hour. You have another 23 hours by yourself. If you can't be real with yourself and trust your own self, you're gonna fail. And that's just the realest shit I can say, because your relationship with yourself is your relationship with the world. If you can't trust yourself, you'll never know where the truth is in the world or versus where the lies are at in the world. If you can't trust yourself, you'll always put your trust into somebody else. And naturally, as people, we care more for ourselves than anything else in the world, right? That's just naturally as people. So it's like having that trust with yourself is so important. And that's another reason, just to piggyback off what we just talked about, that's another big reason on why you should finish the things that you say that you're going to do, right? Those hard tasks, especially like I say early in the morning, the first thing in the morning, because you now can trust yourself. You now know that, okay, if I really want something, I'm going to go do it. And now you have that relationship with your own self that you didn't have before, because before, guess what? You always quit everything. You always gave up as soon as it got hard. You never pushed through, right? You always looked at other people and was like, how do you do it? And they tell you how you do it and you still don't do it. So guess what? You're always going to feel like in every situation that once it gets hard, you're going to throw in the towel. And now you never trust yourself to actually complete something. So if there's ever a task at hand, you'll always question if you're even able to do it. Why? Because you never built a trust with yourself of getting things done, of completing things by your word. Your word is your bond. So if you can't even live up to your own word with yourself, of course you're not going to live up to a word with somebody else. Of course you're not going to live up to anything else in the world. So that trust with yourself is probably one of the most important things that y'all can do. So I would definitely ask, questions that will test yourself, that you probably don't typically talk about, that you have to really be real about with yourself. But someone did ask, what advice y'all got for forgiving yourself and loving yourself unconditionally? Um, so I'll say for forgiving yourself and loving yourself unconditionally, understand that number one, whatever if it was like a certain thing that you did or something, number one, everybody makes a mistake. Some people make big mistakes, some people make small mistakes. Some people make big mistakes to some people that same mistake might be small to somebody else. Everybody makes mistakes, so don't ever get hard on yourself for making a mistake at all. That's just part of life. Now, how you feel about yourself when you were that person that did it, that feeling should propel you to be a better person. That feeling should propel you to love yourself, right? Like Derek said, anytime somebody makes him angry, he takes that feeling and he propels it to do something else with it. It propels him to act on it on a different way, because he doesn't want to be that angry person towards something, or towards something that makes him mad. He doesn't want to feel that, so he internalizes it, and now he transmutes that energy back out into the world in a different way on what he wants to receive. So when it comes to forgiving yourself, I would just take time to understand that you're normal, you're human. You know, people make mistakes. You know, think about, you know, I hate to bring up my guy, man, but just think about my guy John Morant. You know, it's just like he made a mistake. It is what it is. But everybody makes mistakes at different levels, different ways. But you gotta learn to forgive yourself, because if you don't, you'll always still be that person. You'll always be trapped in that mind state of that person. That was the past. If it's not you, it's not you, right? If you don't identify as it, then don't identify as it. Move on and show the world, or show you, just show yourself the person that you truly know that you are capable of being. And just, that's how you move with unconditional love. At that point, you'll know what to do at that point with unconditional love.
I'd say if you struggle with forgiving yourself, then it's probably because you view yourself in a way that you are not, right? So you might, if you don't, if you can't forgive yourself for something, like it's hard for me to even like really give some advice on this, because I've never been in a state where I couldn't forgive myself. Like, you might just be trying to be too perfect and you're not accepting the flaws of yourself and where you might fuck up in life. But understanding that, like, John Morant is the perfect example. Like, nobody's perfect. Absolutely nobody is perfect. No, no matter what people might portray to the world, nobody is perfect. All right. It's hard to draw a perfect circle. It's hard to make a perfect person. So understand that about yourself. And wherever in life you feel like you cannot forgive yourself because you see that you should be this way, we'll just accept that you're not that way right now. All right. And once acceptance is the first step to changing yourself. So once you accept that you are not what you see yourself right now you can become that. Now you can better that area of life. All right. That's probably the best advice I could give for that.
I like Lex's answer too. It's also not fun, and it doesn't feel good to consistently beat yourself up on something that already happened, and that's OD powerful. Like I fuck with that too, because it's not fun. It's really not fun to keep beating yourself up on something that's the past. And I just always tell people, if that's not you anymore, then you don't have to bring it up. You don't identify as that person. So it's the past, you know, and it just helps you to be who you are today, you know, and that's the number one thing that is so beautiful about life. The mistakes that we make, it just helps us be who we are, you know, as a complete person, you know, a more, I guess you could say, closer to perfect person. But at the end of the day, there is no perfect person. So, you know, that's just striving for something that's not there. So you just have to accept everything and just be who you are, and now walk in the skin of who you see as who you should be, or who you want to be, or who you want to show to the world. And that's where you could start to like loving yourself for real. That's kind of like what I would say.
Yeah, I like what she had to say too, because it's why are you so hard on yourself in the first place? You know, give yourself some leeway, like have rules for yourself. And if you know that you're doing something that you shouldn't be doing, then all right, yeah, like I said, if you know that you're doing something that you shouldn't be doing, okay, just accept that you fucked up and then try to fix it the next time. The next time that I consider it to be an intrusive thought. When you have the thought to do something that you know you shouldn't be doing, like people think intrusive thoughts are something that's extreme as hell. But an intrusive thought is when you have a thought to do something that you know you shouldn't do. All right. So the next time you have one of those thoughts, just combat it, you know, just combat it. But it's like when you being hard on yourself, you in a shame and guilt vibration. Shame, guilt, and fear, those are the lowest vibrations of them all. So now that you're on this vibration, you're gonna attract more things that are gonna make you feel like this. So once you harden yourself now, when you start feeling shameful, you're gonna start having more reasons in life to feel shame and feel guilt.
Hmm. And I think the person that said it too, she's also a Capricorn, so I already know how the Capricorns get. You feel me? That's the
Yeah,
Cap.
on God, the entire time I'm saying this, I'm thinking this person gotta be a Capricorn, bro.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. We Mr. and Mrs. I gotta be perfect.
Hmm.
So, you know, just you know, you talking to a Capricorn myself, so like I understand, you know, very well. on the whole, like, how do I forgive myself? Because it's like you just want to be good. You don't want to be. We don't want to be known as someone that made a fucking mistake, or especially if it hurts somebody else. So it's normal. And once you understand that, that's only, that's another reason, like, that's part of your astrology chart, that's part of who you are. So you're gonna feel that, like, damn, I shouldn't have done that, but it's the past is gone, and just accept that, you are walking in the new you, and go strive for that perfect you as much as you can now, as moving on. But I'll take that back too, because I also say don't even strive to be perfect, because perfect is not real. So just be you and accept who you are. Like, there's things that I still got to work on with myself. Um, I still want to work on my speech. I don't like cursing, really. I really don't like cursing. So I like to still work on my speech. But do I curse? Yeah, I still do sometimes. There's sometimes where I'm catching myself in the moment where I'll be talking shit in my head, like, and it'll just be by myself. It's never with people, but I'll just be talking shit in my head, but I'll just be like, bro, you can't be talking shit like that. Like, that's not good, even if it's subconscious, because your subconscious is going to keep remembering that. So, but I understand these things and I accept it, and I'm just not trying to be like a perfect person. I just understand it and I just become better, and I grow. That's really it. Um, but someone said, how do you structure so you don't feel disappointed when you don't accomplish something? Um, I wouldn't attach your value on things that you accomplish. So I would say, you're valuable whether you get whatever you need to get done or not. So I feel like that's attaching your value to getting things done. But at the end of the day, you always do want to challenge yourself, and you do want to make sure that you can get the things that you say done. I would start small, so that way you don't get that feeling of, damn, I didn't get to do this, or I didn't complete that. Start with 3 top things of the day. You got 24 hours. 3 things to do, you can get done in 24 hours. You just might replace so much time doing things that we call responsibilities, doing things that, might not serve us no purpose because it's a distraction. So you may have to evaluate yourself on what you're doing with your time. But just start off small. Like, I know sometimes we might set a schedule and fucking put 8 things that we got to do. I stopped doing that for myself. There's just 3 things for the day that I know I need to do, and then I make sure to go do it. And even if I didn't do it, because the days never go 100% as you plan, anyways. That's just naturally what life is. Sometimes it's not going to go as you plan. You still got tomorrow. Like, once you just say that to yourself, it's like, all right, cool. I really didn't get it done today. It's not by choice. Like, I would have gotten to it if I was able to get to it. We get it done tomorrow. Like, it's kind of like the best word I want to say. Like it's just not being hard on yourself. Like, don't be hard on yourself. If you're too hard on yourself to where it makes you unmotivated, then I wouldn't get hard on yourself about it. But some people, then when they're hard on themselves, they actually get more motivated. So you just got to know who you are. So sometimes when I'm hard on myself, I actually can get unmotivated. So I don't be hard on myself, because when I'm not hard on myself, I get hella shit done. So it just depends on who you are.
I'd say focus on what you put in and not what comes out. Literally, I think that was in Atomic Habits, but you cannot control what happens. All right. You cannot control the output, but you can control the input. Focus on, if you have a goal, all right, like say you have a goal to make $3,000 by April 9th, by this time next month, and you come up $500 short. All right, you didn't meet your goal, but did you do everything you could to hit it? All right, and then that's a pat on the back in itself. But like he said at first, don't cling on, don't attach yourself to the outcome of things, because nothing ever goes as planned. Only thing you can control is the work that you put in. So as long as you know that you did everything you could to reach your goal, then you should feel you should feel some sort of joy. You should give yourself a pat on the back for that.
That's a fact. Next one says, I joined the Discord about trading and making money and to be around like-minded individuals. Then learning from you guys, I understand that really anything is possible. So now I'm confused because I want to do what I love and just trust that if I put in enough work, I can create wealth through my passion, music, art, etc. Instead of making myself learn trading when I don't truly like it. Like, is that me being lazy because I don't desire to learn trading, or is it a valid thought?
I feel like only you can answer that, but you got to ask yourself, do I not like trading because this literally just is not for me? Or do I think I don't like trading because I haven't seen some success in it? And it's kind of a lot of information to learn.
Yeah.
And
Like, that's where I get confused. I'm like, is it just getting hard and I'm giving up because it's getting hard? Or do I actually not enjoy it? Do you get what I'm saying? Like, I'm trying to find the line.
yeah, I feel like that's something only you can answer truthfully. Like, we could guide you to the answer, but that's really something only you can answer for yourself.
I'm a big advocate for doing what you love, doing your passion, doing what you makes you happy. So if music and arts makes you like genuinely happy, like even if you wasn't bringing in no money from it, it still would make you happy to do it. I would do it because you'll do it for a longer period of time, even without the success. So you'll put more conscious energy towards it. You'll put more conscious focus. You'll put more thought into developing and getting better. You'll put more energy towards being more perfect at that craft. You'll put more energy in naturally whatever you put the most energy into, the most it's going to give you back in return. So, for example, basketball for me, I was somebody that I played ball all my life. So I put a lot of energy towards it, and like it was never like a burden to me. It was always like, but for somebody else, they might feel like basketball's a burden because it's not really their passion. They don't really feel it. They just are good at it. Some people talk. It's like tall hoopers. It's like anybody you ever played ball with, and they was dumb tall. They're like 6'8", 6'7". So like their parents threw them in basketball because they said, "Yo, you 6'8", bro. Like you gotta play ball." And it's like they never really had the passion. They on the court, they not really using their true potential. Like they may be good, but they not really like really in it how you in it. And you might be a shorter player. You might be someone, you know what I'm saying? That's how it is. And so when I had my passion into basketball, like I played ball all my life down there, and it never felt like a burden. It never felt like anything. It just felt like this is what I do. Of course, there's times where it gets difficult. Of course, there's things that you rather not do over things that you do want to do in terms of practicing. But I'm a big advocate for doing what you're passionate about. When it comes to trading, there's a vision that you saw with trading before you joined, because you wouldn't have even started trading if you genuinely was like on some, nah, I don't really like this. Like there was a vision that you saw with trading. So you got to go back to how you felt before you started trading and really think like, do you still have that vision? And has that vision maybe got clouded or gone away because it got difficult? Or has it got clouded and gone away because you see something else as a better opportunity towards whatever your vision is? So that's probably what I would say. That happens. Some people with trading, it's just kind of like it could get difficult, or they go through roadblocks, so they're like, damn, I don't really want to do it. And that's like Derek said, that's a question more for you. Are you stopping because it's hard, or are you stopping because you genuinely just don't feel like this is your purpose anymore, or you don't see a vision with this anymore?
Mm-hmm.
That's more of a question for you, honestly.
Because another thing is that you can still do what you're passionate about. This is why I flocked to trading so much. Like if you look at Josh and CJ, these profitable traders on YouTube, like if you look at who's profitable, it's not like they're trading every single day. It's not like they're trading all day, every day. Like Josh, he's a scalper. So he literally wakes up 3 a.m, trades for 30 minutes, and if the trade hit, if he got enough pips, he's done trading for the week. And now the rest of the week he can do his passions. You know, it's not something, it's gonna be something that you have to commit to learning. It's gonna be something that you genuinely have to commit to and understand that this is a journey. But you know, it's not something that once you become profitable, once you start seeing success in it, it's not something that you have to commit all of your time to. Like, if you like making art, all right, you can literally wake up, trade New York for an hour, and then for the rest of the day, you can work on a painting, you can work on a project. But for the most part, like he said, like I said earlier, it's really a question that only you can answer.
Let me see. But I think that was really all the questions that we had. But I definitely hope that helped everybody that had a question for real, for real.
Yeah, I did. Thank you.
For sure, for sure. So yeah, as far as that, what I want everybody to do, before we end off, I'm gonna go ahead and share my screen. But look, this is what I want everybody to do, right? Before we end off, if you guys know that you guys got some value today, you guys learned something new, you know, this is, I want you guys to go ahead and go to your Instagram, right? Share on your Instagram, you feel what I'm saying? Share on your Instagram, you know, something that you guys gained today, you know, like a perspective that you guys gained, a quote that you guys gained, like something that you guys gained today. And I want you guys to make sure that you guys follow me on Instagram _ the official CJ. Tag me on something that you guys gained from today. And also make sure you guys tag Derek as well, right? At Jokestar, right? So that you guys can tap in with him as well. Follow him on Instagram. So if you guys gain something from today, make sure you guys share it so that the community can grow. You know, imagine a call with 111 people all asking different questions and learning different things, basically because we was able to grow the community at that level. And it's all based on how much you guys see this as a value and how many people you think should be tapped in because of this information. So if you guys learn something new, and it's crazy, my guy Derek has 111 posts on his page, and I just said 111 people. You feel what I'm saying? So that's just alignment right there. I highly recommend y'all post, because y'all posting is just going to bring about so much abundance, and we are appreciative in advance for what you guys are doing for the community. And finally, what I want y'all to do is, you know, you guys can also tag and follow our main page, Militant Breadwinners, right? Definitely tap in with us there, right? We got 1,303 followers, 33 following. You feel what I'm saying? So we got some number synchronicity going on. So that's how you guys know that we're on the right path. And this is, you guys are all here for the right reason. You guys are at the right place at the right time with the right people. And I hope this information is actually helping you guys grow. And if it's not helping you grow, definitely make sure that you're taking notes and help somebody else grow, right? Each one teach one. Share this information for somebody that you think needs it. With that being said, make sure you guys definitely take care of yourselves, because the more you guys take care of yourselves, y'all taking care of me, because we are one. Let me see what y'all said in the chat. Tada, denada. Yeah. So yeah, make sure you guys take care of yourselves, because the more y'all take care of me, the more y'all take care of yourselves, y'all taking care of me, because we are one. I'm gonna see you guys from the top or at the top. The only time we ever look down is to bring you guys up. And if you guys looking for me, you can find me at the beach, or you can find me at the bank. Let's get it.